What's up, everybody? A Ward here, and I'm here to let you know that the A Ward Show is now officially brought to you by the Ripple to Wave Foundation, where they're manifesting waves of impact, one ripple at a time. Ripple to Wave empowers volunteers to create real change, from mentoring youth and protecting the environment to supporting those people in need. That includes seniors, veterans, and even animals. Yes, even animals. Every project is a chance to make your ripple in the community, and together, those ripples form waves of impact. The team at Ripple to Wave stays active with projects and events just about every weekend, and they're growing fast. Their Albuquerque, New Mexico team just launched their first project, and they're only getting started since their official launch on June 2nd of 2025. Get involved, volunteer, and learn more at rippletowavefoundation.org. That's Ripple, the number 2, wavefoundation.org. Follow them on all their socials at Ripple, the number 2, Wave Foundation on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to them on YouTube. Together, let's make some waves. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the A Ward Show. I am your host and curator and engineer, and I am all the things. I am A Ward, and I thank you for tuning in to another episode of the A Ward Show. Shout out to my man A Dot for that super fire intro. Make sure you guys run up in the description and go follow him on all his socials. Make sure you guys hit that link tree. Follow me on all my socials. If I'm not somewhere in these social streets, let me know. I'm pulling up. For those who are not able to watch this and you're in the car, you're riding around, you need something to listen to, and you want to hear the sultry sounds of A Ward, make sure you guys pull up to your favorite podcast sharing platform, audio, and I'm there. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple. I'm on iHeart. I'm on a bunch of other ones as well. And if I'm not there, like I said, let your boy know and pull it up. Now, let's get started with my favorite segment of the show, the segment where I talk about sports, but I probably have no goddamn idea what the hell I'm talking about. This is Yo No Say Nada. All right, let's get started with the NFL like I normally do, because you guys know I love me some football. We'll get started with the Thursday night game. And it was an important one, man. And it was all about Sonic and Knuckles. For all my Sega fans out there, man, Sonic and Knuckles. Big night for those running backs down there in Detroit versus the Dallas Cowboys. This was a very, very important game for the NFC playoff hunt, NFC seeding. The win, the loss for whatever team was going to be major. It was gonna have major implications, and it does. But you know, for the actual game, it was a big night for Gibbs, who just continues to show his versatility. He had 3 tubs, you know, big in the passing game. Obviously, just a monster in the run game. And Montgomery went off as well. He had a big run. He had 6 carries for 60 yards in the tub. Big old touchdown run for like 30-something yards. So most of his yards came on that one touchdown run. But they were just running the rock. setting up the play action, and just really getting it going. Now, Amon-Ra was supposed to be out this game. Well, it was questionable and didn't practice all week. And even though it was just, it was a full week because they had the Thursday night, the Thanksgiving game. So they had a full week. He did not practice and was a game time decision. And the decision was, I'm playing. And Amon-Ra played that game, had some huge catches down the stretch in the second half. Same thing with J-Mo, who just continues to be a bigger part of this offense as the season has progressed, which I love. Like, I think offenses are starting to show you that, yeah, you can have one guy who's really, really, really freaking good, but if you don't have two, it might be an issue. And they have two guys on the outside. They have a bunch of guys that have, Tesla, X.com is what I call them. And obviously Laporta, bunch of weapons. But J-Mo, getting more involved in the offense, not just being kind of a deep threat, but getting more intermediate throws, using them sometimes in the reverse run game, has been huge for the Lions. Now, this was a high-scoring game, and when I say this statement right here, when I say the Lions defense played well in a high-scoring game, they played well. We know what the Cowboys do offensively, and this was no different. They did play well offensively, but their defense went right back to who they are. But the Lions, man, they had 5 sacks in this game. Mohamed had 3 sacks himself. They did block Hutchinson well for the most part of this game, but he started to get busy in like the fourth quarter to really lock this thing down. And Mohamed, on the other side of that defensive line, was just hitting him with spin moves, swim moves. He was cooking all night defensively. And like I said, he had 3 out of the 5 sacks that they had that night. Now Dallas was down early in this game, fought back, made it a game. Looked like, they were going to come back and possibly win this game. But then Lamb had a concussion on a nasty, nasty hit to the ground. Almost caught the ball. It was a touchdown throw and almost caught the ball coming down, but he just hit the ground so hard, and you just immediately knew it. As soon as his head hit the ground, bounced up, and he kind of had the rigor mortis set in, it was like, yeah, that's concussion protocol. And you think, okay, well, man, sucks for Dallas. Lamb's out, but they have Pickens, right? Like, who's been balling all year. I just said last episode, or one of the last episodes, like, that might be one of the craziest, greatest trades, depending on how it pans out with him, re-signing with Dallas and all that. I said that was a huge trade, but man, he looked uninterested in the second half of this game. Like, there was one pass from Dak Prescott to Pickens. He just straight up didn't even try to catch it. Right there. Standing right there. And just slowed up, just looked up at the ball and said, I'm good. I don't know. Fuck this. Fuck this shit. And it's like, why? What? It wasn't like Dallas was getting the brakes beat off of them. Not at that point. It was a close game. It was a fight. It was a great, great Thursday night game, man. Two teams trying to get into the playoffs. Dallas right behind the Philly, trying to make a great comeback to maybe win that division. Needed that win against the Lions. NFC North, we'll get into another game that was super, super important in that division. But, Lions are trying to get into, at least a wild card spot. Like I said, there's probably going to be 2 from the NFC North, probably going to be 2 teams from the NFC West in the playoffs. And they play like it. It was a dogfight. But, when you have a guy go out, you look at the Lions last week, Amon-Ra went out, J-Mo had a big game after that. So you would think for Dallas, going against the Lions, CeeDee Lamb goes out, and you would think Pickens would turn up. He turned down. Just quit. And this is the crap that he was pulling in Pittsburgh. Now, you think, okay, well, kind of understandable. Quarterback situation there has not been great in Pittsburgh for a long time. This year's a little bit different with Aaron Rodgers, but Pickens hasn't had that issue in Dallas. Dak has been incredible all year. And like I said, it's not like you're getting your ass kicked in this game. I mean, the one that he just let go, I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, go look it up. The ball dropped right in front of him. Matter of fact, the camera in this room that I'm looking at is further away than the ball was to Pickens in that on that throw. And so that just doesn't make any sense to me. Makes no sense to me. But it is what it is. Let's move on to the Sunday slate, which I got to tell you before I get into these games, man, at least the schedule looked great. Like I was like, yo, let's go. I was excited Sunday morning. I said, man, are you seeing what's going to transpire today? We got the Bengals, we got the Bills, we got the Packers, we got the Bears. Man, big time playoff implications. Let's go. And that's right where we're going to start. We're going to start with the Bengals versus the Bills, where Burrow was buried. Bengals playoff chances are pretty much done at this point. They would have had to win the division. And the other two teams who had a chance in that division, they played each other. So that they needed this win against the Bills to get some momentum, especially after they beat the Ravens last week. And you're thinking, oh, man, Burrow's back. He's playing well. And this was another like incredible game. Now, Bengals were up big in this game. And it looked like they were coasting to a win, but I feel like the Bills have been doing this the last few weeks where they've really started out slow and their defense has not played well in the first half. And then they just turn the hell up in the second half, fourth quarter. And that's what they did. They did the same thing last week, and they did it against the Bengals where they just they were like, oh yeah, that's right. We do play in the NFL too. And caused two bad turnovers for Burrow. I mean, one pick six where he's like incredible for the defensive guy, get up there at the line, pick that thing off and go and take it back to the crib. Like you don't see catches like that on defense, at least, especially from those guys down in the front. But just bad turnovers by Burrow. And, I think he's still getting into a groove after being injured. It was funny because the announcer was like, he hasn't turned the ball over all year. He ain't played all year. The hell are you talking about? Now Cook played well in moments, had a big fumble. And then Josh Allen just does what Josh Allen does. He just took over the game. He was like, look, get up out my way. I'm running this thing. I'm passing this thing. I might throw it to myself. I might mess around and throw and receive the same touchdown. And Bengals defense just has not looked good all year. And so they allowed Josh Allen to get a big win and allowed themselves to have a bad loss because they should have won that game. They were up in that game and just folded in the last quarter and just really, really helped the Bills stay alive in that division. And I think it's this week coming up that the Bills have to play New England. So that'll be a huge, huge matchup for the lead in that division. Morris less. Morris less. I've been saying this damn near every week. Not that I thought they were going to win this game, but the Falcons faced the Seahawks, and which it was kind of a close game in the beginning. Darnold was making bad decisions, threw a bad turnover on a tipped pass, but it wasn't a great throw. And that is something I think we need to watch for. I'm a Darnold fan, have been. He played at USC, me, fight on. But there is something over the last 2 years where he's been amazing in the first 2/3 of the season. And that last third, it's like, starting to throw some bad interceptions, starting to make some bad throws. Now, they did bounce back. JSN bounced back, had a great game after kind of not having a good game last week. You know what I call him, Bominicious, because you got to call him Bominicious. Got to call him by his initials. And just continues to be, at this point right now, he's playing the best wide receiver out of anybody in the league. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's playing the best. He is a dog. He's a monster. But that, Seahawks stay right there in that division, but it ain't about them. It's about them goddamn Falcons, man. ATL, I love y'all, man. I love my ATL people, man. I really do. And I like when the Falcons are good, but they need to blow this shit up right now. I've been saying it. I think most of us have been saying it. Get Morris the hell out of here. Get all of them the hell out of here. Get them all out of here, man. It is time. It's time. They need to get the whole coaching staff up out of here. Now, I did say about the 49ers the other day with Robert Saleh, and I said that he probably is going to get another chance to head coach. This might be a good fit. Or maybe they go get somebody offensive minded? I don't know. But they need to figure it out, and it ain't with them coaches they got down there. It is not. I said this earlier in the year, that what we're seeing in Washington may be the reincarnation of Robert Griffin III. This is RG2. This is not RG3, it's RG2. We're seeing it all over again. The Commanders face the Vikings, and Jaden Daniels got hurt again in this game. And I said this earlier in the season, they've rushed to bring him back twice now. They've rushed to bring him back twice now. Close your eyes, open them back up again. Are we not seeing the same goddamn thing that happened with RG3? And you're not fighting for a playoff spot. You're not really fighting for anything. Now I get it. You want to be competitive. You want to win. You want to try to win. These are professionals. I get it. I'm not telling them to tank, but what I'm saying is you got to protect the investment, and the investment is Jaden Daniels. Mariota is a serviceable backup quarterback who can at least keep you competitive in games. And Jaden gets hurt again. The nine. McCarthy for the Vikings, he had his best game of the season, man. He actually looked decent. It was like somebody sat him down and was like, yo, you keep talking about the 9, but you need to go score more than 9 points. You need to make more than 9 complete. Like, you need to go do your goddamn job, and he did in this game. Now, I don't know what this means for the Commanders going forward. Because, man, it's like they just don't have any luck, man. Especially with drafting these young quarterbacks. But they also, like I said, they rushed to put him back in the game. They rushed to put him back to have him playing again. Got hurt early, rushed to get him back, got hurt again, rushed to get him back, got hurt again. Now, maybe Jay needs to get a little bit stronger. I don't know. But you're not playing for anything at this moment. There's no chance of you winning the division. There's no chance of you getting into the playoffs. You have a serviceable backup quarterback. And we're seeing the reincarnation of Robert Griffin III down there in Washington again with Jayden Daniels and their decisions. In the inaugural or weekly draft pick battle, this week we had the Browns versus the Titans in the battle of who is going to have the highest draft pick, but it was also a battle of what was supposed to be, well, what was figured to be the first and second quarterback taken in this previous draft. We know that didn't happen. We know that storyline. And now we're here. We had Cam Ward against Shedeur Sanders, Browns versus Titans, and one half a good team and one really bad team in the Titans. And this was actually a really good game. Titans ended up coming back to win this game. But, man, Sanders was balling. He was balling, man. Over 300 yards, 3 tubs. Was making some great throws, man. Like, the pass that he had to Njoku for the touchdown was on a rope, was in the only spot that Njoku could get it. And made sure that, he would be the only one that could get it, and he did. Now he got hurt on that play, but he ended up being all right. And like you can see Shedeur's comfort level in this offense is getting a lot better. He can just he has a bigger arsenal of throws than Dylan Gabriel. It just is what it is. And like I said, I'm not saying he's franchise. Like, I'm not jumping out the window on Shedeur Sanders yet. But we have to be honest, he has looked better in this offense than anybody has thus far this season. And now there's a lot being talked about, first of all, they went for 2 early, the Browns did, when they didn't have to. Like, I didn't understand the logic there. Now, they have way more analytics than I do. They got guys that are just sitting there with numbers saying the percentages and whatever. I ain't into all that. I'm old school. I'm like, does it make sense or does it not make sense? Do we need it or do we not need it? And they didn't need it, but they went for it, and they didn't get it, so it put them behind for the rest of the game. And then now when they did need it at the end of the game, Shedeur Sanders drives them right down the field, scores a touchdown. They're down by 2. And you think, man, Shedeur's been on fire. Let's call up a play, or even let's get Judkins involved. Let's get some play action involved. I mean, run game was working pretty well. Shedeur was slicing and dicing. And you're down by 2. Why not go win it with the guy that just scored the freaking touchdown to put you in this position? And they pull him again. Now, they did this with Dylan Gabriel, so I'm not saying this is they're trying to sabotage Shedeur. I just think they're freaking idiots, man. I think the Browns are dumb as hell when it comes to some of their decision-making. I don't think this was necessarily about Shedeur and them pulling Shedeur because they didn't think he could do it, because they, like I said, they did it with Dylan Gabriel earlier in the year where they ran this dumbass wildcat stuff. Shedeur just drove you down the field, scored the touchdown. Why take him out? Why take your, at this point, starting quarterback out of the game when you're down by 2? It makes no sense. They knew what you were going to do. You took him out. Oh, here comes this weird shit. The shit that worked when Ronnie Brown was in the league. Unnecessary. So, Browns defense wasn't that great in this game, obviously, because they gave up a ton of points. But they've been great all year, so I think that was an anomaly. Myles Garrett continues to get his food, though, and he's just going to continue to. I like, with a guy that's that good, you hope that they kind of figure some things out, but Stefanski's not going anywhere. At least it doesn't seem that way. And so for Browns fans, Cleveland fans, you're probably going to see more of this dumbass crap in the future. And I don't know. It's just dumb as hell. Running a damn Wildcat. Like, come on, man. We know what you're doing, man. We got you figured out. Like Denny Green said, they are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook. Rest in peace to the amazing artist D'Angelo. Indiana has the Jones in the bones. I said they got Jones in the bones because Daniel Jones is out. Achilles injury. You knew it when you saw it. He landed, went to plant to throw the ball. You saw him. You saw that calf reverberate. Calf had more reverb than the 1970s, 80s rock song. Just reverb. And you saw the way he responded, slamming his hat on the ground when they came to check on him, and you're like, yeah, that's it. And when he wasn't reaching for the knee, he started reaching for the bottom of his leg, like I said, in that calf area, ankle area. And shortly after that, went into the tent. They checked on him, and it was confirmed that it was an Achilles, and he's out for the season. And so, in what was a super important game against the Jaguars, they were tied record-wise. Jags had the number one spot in that division, and was supposed to be a hell of a game, and ended up not being. The backup came in. I forget his name, Riley something. Played at Notre Dame, and he looked good for a little bit when he came in. Obviously, sometimes that happens. You get a backup quarterback. Nobody really has seen him, so they can do some things that maybe you haven't seen on film. But Jonathan Taylor has been struggling. Now, a couple weeks ago, they didn't really use him at the end of the game. They have been trying to get him going, and he has been struggling the last couple weeks. Like, and look, these defenses are basically saying, we're going to make you pass the ball because we know what that guy can do. And he is not, they really loaded the box up on him, and he has not played well. And they needed him to have a hat trick Taylor type of game against the Jags, who the Jags just, I'm like, how, man? How? But they're there. They right there. You watch them and you're like, I guess. But Jags get a huge win against the Colts, who seem like at this point they might not even make the playoffs after the great first start to the season that they had. They might be out of it. Jumping out the window. They gone. And prayers up for Daniel Jones. Terrible injury. Everybody knows. It's not as bad as it used to be. It's not the death sentence that it used to be, but it still sucks. The Saints go marching in against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what seemed like a check mark type of game for the Buccaneers, right? Like the Saints haven't looked good all year, although I wouldn't say they haven't looked good. They just haven't been winning. Beginning of the year, they were in some tough matchups that they were losing. And I don't know about Shuck. I don't, for the Saints, the quarterback, I don't know if he's the answer, the future, but he is right now. And they end up beating the BUCS, which was a big loss, huge loss for the BUCS, because Carolina is right up in this thing. Right up in this thing. Like, Carolina's getting hot at the right time, and the BUCS are getting as cold as the weather is at the wrong time. at the wrong time. And that NFC as a whole is deep. It's deep. It's deeper than a poetry slam. It's deep. Like, there's going to be somebody with a hell of a winning record that's going to be the 7th seed. So if you don't win your division and you're not in the NFC North or the NFC West, you ain't getting in. You are not getting in. You are not getting in. And so big, like, it's a checkmark game. You're looking at the game, you're like, Bucks versus the Saints. Yeah, this is okay. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe they overlooked the Saints and we're looking ahead, and you shouldn't have looked that much further. Because now, the way they've been playing, it does not look good for the Bucks right now. Now, shit might change next week. Week to week, everything changes. Shoot, my MVP candidates, they change in the middle of the week for me sometimes. Just because I woke up on a different side of the bed. That's how it is. Still in it. Still in it. The Steelers are still in it. After I said last week it might be time to make a change with Mike Tomlin. Huge divisional win against the Ravens, who have now just dropped two bad losses against divisional opponents. Now, I'm going to go right to the elephant in the room, and I'm going to say Isaiah Likely caught that damn ball, and I don't know what the hell the refs were looking at. And then they tried to come out with the rules that I saw today on the TV this morning as I'm getting my morning dose of sports, and they trying to say, well, by the letter of the law, this is what they said. By the letter of the law, you must establish possession of the ball. Which he did that. And by the letter of the law, you must get 2 feet down in the end zone. And he did that. But when he put what the hell the third foot got to do with anything? The third foot. So he's supposed to go on a morning walk in the end zone, on a little stroll in the end zone with the ball in his hand to be considered a touchdown. He catches the ball. He has possession of the ball, maintains possession of the ball through the second step. As he's getting into the third step, he's already in the end zone. It's not like he's getting into the end zone, like that bad fumble he had last week, couple weeks ago, whatever it was. And he's in the end zone, and then he gets the ball slapped out after he scores the touchdown, and then they said, no, it wasn't a touchdown. Bad call by the refs. That most likely wins the Ravens the game. So this is not all on the Ravens. Like, they were in this thing. Excuse me. They had a touchdown that should have been called a touchdown. And just a terrible, terrible call. But a big win for the Steelers in the battle of the fireable coaches in Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. Now, Steelers have come out and said that Mike Tomlin's job is not in jeopardy this year, but they will be evaluating next year. And my question is, Aaron Rodgers is getting older. So what are you going to be evaluating? Because we know Aaron Rodgers is going to, in this offseason, be like, maybe I'll come back. Maybe, I don't know, he's going to Brett Favre his way to some type of weird-ass contract. Excuse me. It's getting cold out here, man, so, I don't know if you can tell the voice is a little raspy. But with the Bengals loss and the Steelers beating the Ravens, that did save Mike Tomlin just a tad bit. You know what? No, I want to say this about the Steelers real quick too. they added Adam Thielen. They let go of Darius Slay, and then signed Asante Samuel. I'm like, bro, they just like signing old ass dudes. Now Adam Thielen did play this game, had a catch that I saw as I was flipping through the games, and it's just like sometimes the decisions they make, like some of the people they sign, doesn't make sense. Adam Thielen like dropped a shit ton of passes for Minnesota this year when he did play for them. So I don't know what that's about, but we'll see. Maybe it'll work out. They won this game. Maybe it'll work out for them down the stretch. Big question mark, man. Dolphins? Like, now they played the Jets. But Miami has been looking good since they fired that damn GM. I don't know what the hell that has to do with what goes on the field. But they've been looking good. Like I said, albeit against the Jets, and the Jets are just ass cheeks. They suck. The Jets suck. That organization sucks. But Miami played a damn good game, and they've just been stacking these weird wins ever since that GM got fired. And McDaniel's job, I mean, they did say they want to kind of roll with him. They do like him as a head coach. They come out and said that, or at least there's been reports of that. And his job may be secure for now because they have looked a shit ton better since that GM got fired. Defense has looked a lot better, like I said, for this week, albeit against the Jets. But they're just stacking up wins like nobody's business. Now, like I said, the Jets are just ass cheeks. The Jets need to just go back to the drawing board, figure it all out for next season. Start looking at them draft picks that you accumulated and start coming up with a game plan because they are ass cheeks. They suck. They just absolutely suck. That is a check mark every time, damn near every time, when you play the Jets. Afternoon games, Rams won convincingly against the Cardinals. Big win for them in that division. Broncos won convincingly. Big win for them in that division. Especially because we'll get into what happened in the night game. So big wins for the Rams and the Broncos. But the big game, one of the big games was Packers versus the Bears. And all you heard in this game was go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. That Packers defense, boy, they getting sizzling. Cause they was on their ass. They was on the Bears' ass all night. All night long. All night long. Now the Bears had a chance in this game for sure. And this was the battle of the NFC monsters. And the Packers and the Bears and the surprising Bears. And what's crazy about this is with the Packers winning, they now have the number 1 seed, and the Bears are now the 7th seed, I want to say. Like, in that division, they're 1 and 2, but they now have the 1 seed, the Packers do, and the Bears go from the number 1 overall seed in the NFC to now the 7th because of, divisional placement and all that stuff. That's why I say, man, every win, every game for the next few weeks is like, damn, it matters. It matters. And Bears had a chance. They just couldn't get it going when they needed to. It just seemed like the Packers wanted it more, to be honest with you. Watch this game. The Packers was like, nah, we ain't having that. We ain't losing this game. We have high expectations for ourselves. We came into the season with high expectations for ourselves. High expectations for Jordan Love. We're looking to get on a championship run, and the way they played, it looks like they want it. Now the Bears are still goddamn good, and I think they'll be fine down the stretch. I'm pretty sure they'll make the playoffs, but we'll have to see how the next few weeks kind of pan out. But big win, huge win for the Packers, man. Man, I'm telling you, I might get me a residence out there in H-Town, man, because Blaze chopping, trunks popping. Man, I'm a fan of football, but goddamn it, I'm a fan of these Texans, man. I like watching this team. I really do. Now that C.J. Stroud is back, and I've been a fan of C.J. Stroud, Cali boy. Kind of underrated. Thought he was really good in college and was super underrated, even though he was a high draft pick. But I thought he was underrated coming out of college, especially the way they tried to make it seem like he was that much further behind Bryce Young. And he's proved all that wrong. Now he's been injured this season, he's been hurt, but he's back. That defense for Texas, man, for Houston, man, for H-Town. And what's crazy is Danielle Hunter didn't even have a great game. Didn't even have a great game, but it didn't matter. They was whooping the Kansas City Chiefs' ass. And that offense got going. The revelation of Woody Marks in this offense and the way they are using him now and the way they are kind of hiding the offensive line through different schemes, using the outside run a lot more, getting Woody Marks in the pass game, different blocking schemes to get Woody Marks in the inside zone, even though that hasn't really worked this year, but I'm seeing the blocking schemes are changing a little bit. Having C.J. Stroud back is major, and I'm telling you right now, Texans make the playoffs, and this is not glazing, this is not gassing, this is none of that. If the Texans make the playoffs, which at this point seems likely, right now, we'll see. I don't know who the hell wants to play them. I know there's some really good teams in the AFC. I get it. New England has been phenomenal this year. Bills have been eking out wins the last couple of weeks. But, I mean, if you're the Jags, do you want to play them? If you're the Steelers, do you want to play them? If you're the Broncos, maybe? That defense is scary, and their offense is getting going with Woody Marks and C.J. Stroud. And Nico Collins is obviously a beast. Bunch of other guys they got down there. I like watching this team down there in Houston, man. I really do. If you're a fan of, like, football, just football, man. Just football. You got to say it with an accent. Football, American football. If you're a fan of football, turn on the Houston Texans, man. I'm telling you, this defense is amazing. And like I said, one of their best defensive players, Danielle Hunter, didn't even have a great game. And they just still locking that shit down, man. This is a complete team. Don't let the record fool you. Do not let Houston's record fool you. They are starting to become a complete team. I didn't like the offensive calls earlier in the year. I didn't like the way they were blocking this year, and they still have some struggles there. They do. But they're starting to figure some things out schematically. And opposite to the Browns, where they have a great defense, and they've had a great defense, and their offense just hasn't been able to get going, although it's been better the last couple of weeks with Sanders in. This offense has been, even when Mills was in there, serviceable. They were winning games when Mills was in there. So now that you have a top 15 quarterback back into the lineup, and you know me in the run game, I love the run game. They're figuring that out with Woody Marks, USC, fight on. Man, who wants to face the Texans right now? Who? Blades chopping, trunk popping. I'm telling you, man. Stirring the pot. Let me know. I might pull up. I'm coming down to Houston, man. I'm telling you. I like watching this team. Let's get into college football, man. CFP rankings came out. top 12 playoff teams. And for those that are listening, you're not going to understand, but I'm going to try to convey it through the tone of my voice. But for those that are watching, I want y'all to look at my face. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing with this goddamn college football shit, man? Get the fuck out of here. Excuse all my language. But what the fuck are we doing with motherfucking Tulane and JMU in the 12-team playoff? Y'all gotta get the fuck out of here, man. And then when they're asking the dude from the selection committee real questions, is like, hey man, I don't even want to know. I don't even care about the teams that are in. I just want to know the process. Dude was like, well, the process was we had woken up, and then it was like it was Miami, and then it was Notre Dame, and then Alabama played Georgia. What the fuck is we talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? So let's get into the elephant in the room. Notre Dame doesn't make the 12-team playoff. And even the guy from the selection committee was like, yo, but we looked at Miami and then we looked at Notre Dame and like they was the same. Like they was like, it was hard. So they put Miami at 10, but then Notre Dame's not in the top 12. And I ain't even no Notre Dame fan. I'm fighting on all day. I'm USC. Well, come on, man. If you telling me that Miami's this good, but you think Notre Dame is just as good, even though they lost to Miami, and Miami's 10, then how the fuck is Notre Dame not in there? What is the criteria? They don't even know. They don't even know. They asked the selection committee. This is no disrespect towards Tulane and JMU. No disrespect. No disrespect. This is not about y'all. There's no disrespect to the colleges, to the teams. No disrespect. This is about the selection committee not getting it right, and they do this shit every year. This is not participation. This is not about participation. If you want to give out participation trophies, then just leave the goddamn bowl system the way it was. Go back to the BCS. Just have a computer pick 2 motherfuckers, and we can argue about that for the rest of the year. We can argue about that for the rest of the year. But now you're saying the whole thing is we want to get the best 12. That's not the best 12. Now, I don't disagree with the top of the order. Indiana got a huge win against Ohio State, albeit a close one. And I think that says a lot about Indiana, more than it says about Ohio State. I think Indiana is a lot better than what some, even though, they've been right there. They've been up in the rankings, but a lot of people, this was the test against Ohio State, and they passed it so far. And Texas Tech got a big win against BYU. I didn't think BYU deserved to be in there, to be in the top, top 12. But y'all got to start get the fucking selection committee the fuck up out of here. They need to get some real people who actually understand football, who can watch football, not all these execs and these weak ass ADs and all this crap, writers and whatever. People that actually understand football to watch the games, analyze the games, and then pick the top 12 teams. Or go off the goddamn AP poll if you want to. But this shit every year, and then, it looks like they try to set it up for Ole Miss to get an easy win. Like I said, no disrespect to Tulane and JMU. Tulane might fuck around and prove all of us wrong. JMU might fuck around, prove all of us wrong. And if they do, I'll get right back on this show and be like, yo, my bad. I wasn't talking shit about y'all, but, I kind of am low key, like, I get it. But this is about that selection committee. Y'all suck, man. Y'all do not get this shit right. And then what are we going to do when y'all decide to expand to 16 teams? I can't wait for that because y'all going to fumble that. Y'all going to fumble that. So, I don't know. Do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. Get the motherfucking selection committee up out here. Now, for the segment that tells you that the boob tube is so good, you have to force yourself to hit the clicker and take your ass to bed. This is Turn the TV Off.
TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off.
All right. I actually don't have a show that I want to talk about. I will save that for the next episode. I do have some shows that I'm watching, but I have one that I want to watch that I want to finish before I talk about it. It's probably one that everybody's talking about, but I need some time to sit with it. But I did want to talk about a major deal in the TV entertainment world, streaming world, TV entertainment. It's been kind of a whisper in the entertainment streets and is now starting to be room talk. Netflix deal to buy Warner Brothers and all that catalog. All the DC, all the Harry Potter, all of it. Massive deal worth 82, almost 83 billion. It's billions and billions. 83 billion in cash and stocks. And shout out to my man Zeke, my old co-host of the Gray Space. For sending me this information. That's all their intellectual property. That's DC, that's Harry Potter, that's Game of Thrones, that's all of that. Netflix is going to buy that. And first of all, 82.7 billion. We'll just call it 83. Major. And that's not just the TV stuff. That is the gaming division as well. That's Mortal Kombat. That's Rocksteady, who made the Arkham, the Batman games. Major deal. And we, the rumblings about Warner Brothers being sold was getting out there. But for Netflix, this is huge. That catalog is huge. And what they'll be able to do, as far as shows, as far as, straight to stream movies with some of this stuff. Turning some of the games into movies, right? Huge deal. Now, if Netflix backs out of the deal, they owe around 5.8 billion, around 6 billion to Warner Brothers. And if Warner Brothers backs out of the deal, they owe about 3 billion, 2.8 billion to Netflix. I don't think anybody's backing out of this deal. Obviously, when you got 83 on the line, cash and stocks, 83 billion, billions and billions. When you got 83 billion, a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's some dope. And so what this means for the rest of the entertainment world is what we're going to start to see is like the Amazon Primes, the Apple TVs, the Disneys, the Paramount Pluses, the YouTube TVs, like within the next 2 to 3 years. And me and my boy Zeke have been talking about this. And I think a lot of us kind of have been seeing this a little bit if you pay attention to the entertainment world. You're going to start to see massive mergers, and we're going to have what I think is going to happen in college football, which is like we're going to have just 4 big conferences, or we're going to have an East and a West. Like, it's not going to be so many different pieces of the pie. I think we're going to start to see that in entertainment, specifically in the streaming world, where you're going to see maybe Amazon Prime. Do they acquire like Paramount? You know what I mean? Apple TV, Disney, like, you're going to start to see some of these mergers that are going to break the bank, and which might be good in the long run as far as like not having to have so many damn streaming services. Not needing Netflix and Apple TV and Amazon Prime. Now that Netflix deal is also HBO Max. That's all of that, man. That's all of that. Crazy. 83 billion. Billion. So we'll pay attention to what this merger of some sorts, what domino and ripple effect it has on the rest of the TV and streaming industry. No new music this week for me personally. I've been listening to some old stuff. You know what I'm saying? Listening to some old West Coast stuff. So we're going to get you up out of here with my narrative. All right. My narrative for this week, this episode, is stay in the moment. Stay in the moment. Don't let the moment be too big. Don't let it be too small. And always appreciate the moment. Whether that be, and I'm saying this specifically because we have holidays coming up, and like I said last episode, slow it down. This is kind of along the same lines, but it's more just like appreciate the things that are happening in front of you while you're in them. Don't let them get too big. Don't let them get too small. And just really appreciate, like, put your phone down and appreciate the moments, right? Be engaged when these moments are happening, when you're around family, when your kids are opening presents, when your grandma's opening for whoever, right? Be in the moment, stay in the moment, enjoy the moment, and remember that, yes, take pictures, take videos, all that, right? You want to capture the moment. I get that. But make sure you're capturing it while you're still engaged in the moment. And enjoy those around you, enjoy your loved ones, and really soak it all in. You know what I'm saying? Pause. But really just be in the moment and love on those around you. Enjoy the times that you have, whether you have everything in the world at your leisure or you don't have much, but what you have is what you have. Because you can't take the shit with you anyways. So enjoy the moment. Be with those around you. Be engaged. Be loving. Me. We gotta show the love, man. We gotta show the love. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another week of me just talking my gibberish on the A Ward Show. Another episode. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you guys hit the link tree, like I said at the beginning of the episode. Follow your boy on all my socials, TikTok, Instagram, all that. I love engaging. You guys hit comments in the TikTok section. You can ask. I'll be in there right with y'all. I'll be talking to y'all. Love y'all. I really appreciate y'all. If I'm not anywhere on the socials, let your boy know. I'm pulling up. I'll be there. I'll be there. For those who cannot watch, like I said, pull up on your favorite audio podcast sharing platform. I am there as well. Apple, Spotify, iHeartMedia, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm not there, let me know. I'll get on the computer and make my way to traveling down to some of these other roads of audio. Make sure you tell a friend. To tell a friend, make sure you hit a like, subscribe, comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their mama, their cousin, their grandmama, and pull up on the A Ward Show. You guys have a fantastic, fantastic week. And I'll see you job turkeys next week.